Hello, guys and girls, and welcome to the latest episode of the Be More podcast. So, today, guys, I'm going to be sharing the lessons that I've learned from 75 Hard. Now, I am currently day 71, and you could be listening to this once it's complete, or maybe listening to it today or whatever. So, guys, I'm 71 days into 75 Hard, which I don't know if you guys have heard of it before. I have done a podcast on it previously. It's basically something that I discovered through following a guy called Andy Frisella, and he's put this program together, and it's kind of gone viral. A lot of people have been doing this challenge or trying it at least, and basically what it consists of, guys, is it's 75 days of just discipline and sacrifice, 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water, so 4.5 litres of water a day, 10 pages a day of personal development, taking a progress picture every single day, no cheat meals, no alcohol, right? Okay, and sticking to a nutrition plan. So for me, a lot of those things were things that I kind of already had locked down. Like, I don't drink alcohol, I already read every single day anyway, so for me these things were kind of habitual anyway. But having a cheat meal now and again, I don't really call it a cheat meal, but I do eat what I want to eat whenever I want to eat it, so that obviously was a bit different for me, especially at weekends. What else was a bit of a challenge for me? I'm basically just going to share, guys, some of the things that I've learned in the journey, and some of the things that maybe I can share with someone who's maybe thinking about doing the challenge, or not even 75 hard, by the way. This could be a relevant lessons in the journey for any goal you're looking to pursue. So you could be on any type of journey or adventure towards something you're pursuing in your future. But these are some of the lessons that I've learned in a very short space of time that I also believe are very relevant when it comes to business or any type of success or goals that you're striving for. These are some of the things that you've got to consider in your journey. Okay, so first of all, the first thing I've got in my notes for one of the biggest things that I've learned from doing 75 hard, and something that I think most people really struggle with, is saying no. Right? Saying no to, like the other day I was at my friend's house, Chinese, they'll get a Chinese while watching the football. Saying no, right? Because, by the way, if it wasn't 75 hard, would I have had a Chinese with my mates? Yes, I would have done, right? But the ability to say no, most people I think would crumble, because you get judged by other people, they're taking the mickey, you're made to feel different and awkward. And these are things that happen, and these are things that have happened for me a lot over the last few years with doing something different, becoming an entrepreneur. Like, these are different things to what normal people are doing, most people are doing, right? So you're going to start to get judged. So saying no to certain things, saying no to maybe social events or whatever, or saying no to just sitting on my ass rather than going out and getting my second workout done, saying no to the comfortable things, or the things that maybe you might want to do or whatever, the distractions. Whereas in 75 hard, and in general with success, there are sacrifices that have to be made in order for you to become different, to get different, to win. Sometimes is a price to pay for that promise and for that success, and that could be the first hurdle for a lot of people, is their inability to say no to the instant gratification, the quick win, the taste of the food, or whatever it might be. 71 days in now, and there's been no cheat meals, there's been no pizzas, there's been no naughty meals, right? There's been no alcohol, there's been no chocolate, there's been no sweets, right? Are you willing to say no? Are you willing to be disciplined enough to say no to these little things that, really, to be honest, guys, I don't miss at all. I don't miss them at all. But before, I would have them all the time, right? Even as someone who's really into their fitness and looks after my nutrition, these things would happen all the time. I'm not saying, by the way, that I'm gonna not have them again, because I definitely will. But it's that ability to say no for a period of time, because that shows discipline. That shows persistence, and all these different things that I believe are really key when it comes to achieving success in anything in your life. There has to be there has to be an element of sacrifice, and there has to be an element of discipline. So for me, that's one of the first things that I got from it, that I think most people would fail with. The first hurdle would be their inability to say no. And also, and something that really I think has made a big difference to why I found 75 hard, I'm going to say easy. I found it quite easy to do, right? I've not found it hard. I've not had to think about it every day, oh, this is a struggle. There's only been a few days really where I've gone, this is tough, right? And that's just been where I've been quite sore from not having a rest day for 71 days. But generally, it's been simple for me, but only because I am very selective with who I spend my time with. I wouldn't go and see my pals every night where they were getting Chinese or Five Guys or whatever. I wouldn't do that because there's too much temptation there. There's too much. That's not an environment that's going to set you up to be ultra adhering to a plan. You've got to get yourself around people that are doing the same thing as you. And for me, where Rob and my girlfriend have been doing it with me, it was her idea. We've been supporting each other with it, right? So it's been so much easier. Whereas if she wasn't doing it, would I have completed it? Probably not. And I'm a disciplined person, and I'm the type of person, if I say I'm going to do something, I'll see it through. But I understand, like, this is why anyone who's on a journey and their other half hasn't bought in with them, you're struggling big time, right? Because you need them to see what you see. Then you need to you have to communicate as a couple and as with people you spend your time with regularly, that this is what I'm doing, this is the result I'm going to get, this is what I'm going to treat us with afterwards, or whatever it might be. But they have to buy in on the plan, otherwise you're in trouble from day one, right? Especially 75 days, it's a long time to be doing something while your other half is eating crap, doesn't understand what you're doing, disagreeing with what you're doing, wants to go out for a drink or whatever. If they don't see what you're doing and they don't buy in with you, they haven't got to follow it with you, but they have got to understand what you're doing. They have got to support you in the journey when the days are getting a bit tougher. This is what you want from your partner, and it only can happen when you communicate effectively why you're doing what you're doing, right? Because this is where a lot of people go wrong. For example, they'll start a business, right? They'll start maybe something in network marketing with what I do, but their other half doesn't get it. And that then literally is the biggest, like, that can stop all progress, because you're surrounded by somebody who doesn't get what you're doing, doesn't support what you're doing. So when there comes times where you have to work, comes times you have to go to events, they don't see what you're seeing, so they don't understand when you have to go away or do these things. And they're like, why is my life changing because of your goal in that thing? Right? They need to understand it better. So you have to communicate effectively why you're doing what you're doing, and then your partner can then buy in with you and can support you in your journey, even if they're not involved, right? Whereas I've been fortunate with Robin, is she's been doing this with me. The same with our business. We are in this together, and I wouldn't really have it any other way, because I like it that way. I like how we're running together and we're growing together, and I don't mean running physically. We don't do that, because Rob doesn't like running or working out with me. But I mean, we're running through life together. We're on that train of progress and success and goals and discipline. And we are on that entrepreneurial roller coaster together, right? Which is what I love. Same with 75 Hard. Whereas if she weren't doing it, it would have made things more difficult. So all these things are things to consider before doing anything. And this is with anything, guys, with any goal, whether you're doing 75 Hard or not, 10-day program, whatever it is, have your other half buy in with you, whether they're doing it or not. They've got to understand your motives. They've got to understand why you're doing it. Let's say, for example, you want to lose weight, right? And your other half is maybe not in on the plan. Then there may be a feeder, or they might not understand why you're doing it. They might not think you need to lose weight. But for you, you've got to explain why you're doing this. Look, this is making me feel down. This is making me feel really mentally. I'm struggling with the fact that I don't look and feel the way I want to. You've got to go in on the details as to why you're then starting X, Y, Z, this nutrition plan, this training plan, this, and this. There's going to be an element of change in my life for me to achieve this result. I hope you understand what I'm doing, and I want you to be in this with me. And one of the things I've got to do is 10,000 steps a day. Let's maybe do a walk every evening together, just for 20 minutes. That way we can talk a bit more about things. Whatever, have them in on the journey in some way, shape or form, right? So hopefully that makes sense. What else have I got? There's a price for every promise, okay? Now, with 75 Hard, it's more of a mental toughness thing. For me, I wasn't really doing it for my physical transformation. I have got leaner. I have seen results. But there's a price for that, right? And I've done it for the mental toughness. I wanted to show that I could do something and say no to the shit, get through something for 75 days. I just wanted to be able to go as well. I'm the type of person, guys, if I say I'm doing something, I'm doing it, right? If I say I'm going to show up to this, I'm there, 100%, full integrity. I will show up and I will give it my best, right? Same with 75 Hard. The 1st of January when we started it, I was like, I will see this through. No matter what, I will see this through, and I'm excited for the person that I'll become in the journey. And there will be a price to pay. There was days where we were really busy. We was at an event, couldn't get both workouts in at a convenient time, but that's where it is. So we're not looking for convenience, we're looking for results. We're not looking for convenience, we're looking for difference. We're looking for doing what it takes. Like, sometimes you have to become uncomfortable to get to where you want to be. And that's where it is. Like, one day we was at an event and Robin was like, I'm not drunk any of my water. And she was like, I'm only a litre in, it's 6 p.m. I'm like, well, crack on then. 3.5 litres went down within about 3 hours. Didn't sleep all night because she was up pissing all night. But you've got to do whatever it takes. And she learned from that. She was like, shit, next day I'm going to start front loading more water in the day. And this all leads me to the next point of planning. You have to plan what you're doing, otherwise you're going to be struggling big time. Whether you're doing something like 75 hard or you're embarking on a fitness journey, no plan, you're struggling big time. You need to know when you're training, what you're doing. You've got to have a plan for what you're doing. Piss poor preparation leads to piss poor performance, right? So make sure you've got a plan for your week, which is why every Sunday for me, I'm like, right, what am I doing next week? I'm looking at my calendar on my laptop. I'm seeing where I'm going to be when. I can plan when I can do what and what not, and I can plan when I can major in on the major things. Whereas I don't want to be busy majoring in minor activities. That's not going to help me get to where I want to be. I can look at my schedule and go, right, these are the times where I can major in on the major activities that can move me closer from where I am to where I want to be. It's a straight line, right? But it becomes very, very fuzzy, and it takes a long time, or you never get there if you're majoring in the minor things. So for me, having a plan and having structure to follow makes the whole thing so much easier, because then you're driven by habit, you're driven by a plan, you're driven by knowing what's happening. Whereas if you're waking up and going, right, I don't know what's going to happen today, I'm really busy, I've got all this to fit in, as a result, none of it gets done. Or just the minor stuff gets done, the rubbish that doesn't move you forward in your life. Whereas you've got to have a plan for when you're going to do your major things. And this is why something like a program like 75 Hard can be good, because it can give you a list. It gives you a list. If you've got the app is the game changer, because you can tick things off as you go. And I've really enjoyed doing that. Without a list, you don't know what you're doing, right? And it's got a list, you can tick off things as you go, and it can then set priorities for you to achieve things, right? It's the same with any kind of goal. You've got to have a list of, this is what I need to do today. And then for me, what I've learned is ultra important is to prioritize the things in order. So you do the major, most important things first, right? Because otherwise you can get these little wins doing these not so important things. You're like, oh, I'm getting loads done. But then you look in 2 years' time and you've not moved very far in your life, because you're just doing loads of unimportant things, right? Whereas you've got a list, right? Here's the priorities at the top. Here's the things that I need to do. These are the 20% activities that create the 80% results. The 80-20 rule is relevant in everything, right? It's called the Pareto principle. If I haven't got time to talk about it today, but if you want, go and Google it. You'll learn that everything revolves around this thing called the 80-20 rule. So focus your time and your energy on the 20% activities that yield the 80% results, okay? Which I can talk about on another podcast for sure at another time. So what else have I got? Structure, discipline, planning, urgency with tasks, no room for excuses, okay? Because it's a consistency chain for 75 days of doing X amount of things per day, every day for 75 days. There's no room for excuses. There's days where you're like, I'm very sore. And by the way, for the 75 days, I've done 71 so far, the second workout has only 1 or 2 times been a workout. The rest of the times, it's been a walk, okay? Which is no problem. It can be a walk, right? Some days I've been so beaten up from the training that it's been 2 walks, right? But this is still enough, right? People have this idea you've got to bust your balls in the gym to get a great result. You don't. You just have to be moving your body and eating well, and things will come together, right? Of course, now and again you have to do things to like do different things to get a different result, like lifting a bit heavier or whatever it might be, right? It's progressive. And walking can't always be that progressive, but trust me, it's enough when you keep doing it over and over and over again. Like, there's not been a day where I've done less than 10,000 steps in the last 71 days. And as a result, like, my feet look a bit different. My legs are sore. I'm having to stretch most days to get through it. But there's no room for excuses. Are you willing to do whatever it takes to achieve the result you're looking to achieve? Now, that's the game, guys. The 75 Hard program, for me, it separates serious people from the rest, because it's a long time. It is a long time to show these disciplines and show up with them every single day. Now, this leads me to the next question. Would I do it again? The answer is no, right? Because even though you probably listen to my podcast, this is 15 minutes in now, and you probably think this sounds really, really good. I need to give this a go. Would I do it again? The answer is no, because for me, it hasn't allowed for something that I value a lot in my life, which is balance, okay? I really value balance, and there is a time, by the way, where there's no room for balance. You have to go and do the work, right? Do the work, cut the bullshit, cut the distractions, go and get shit done, right? However, there comes a time where it's nice for me to take Robin out for a nice meal. We could stay at a hotel, have maybe something like a dessert or whatever. These are little things that I've missed. Now, for example, we go to Abu Dhabi in a couple of weeks' time, and I want to be able to enjoy whatever Abu Dhabi has to offer. Right? I don't have to say, oh no, I can't have that because I'm doing this, or I can't have that. That isn't for me what my life is about anymore. I've done that plenty of times on other diets before that I didn't really enjoy doing. For me, I've found something that I love to do with my nutrition now that allows for flexibility, that allows for me to kind of do what I want when I want, but keeps me in great shape. So for me, 75 Hard was a bit too extreme. However, I loved the hustle of it. I did like it, but I wouldn't do it again. Would I recommend it to other people? Maybe, maybe not. It depends what type of person you are, right? It depends if you need discipline in your life. Like, I would argue most people don't have much, so you probably need something like this to give you a kick up the arse. But it might be that thing that gives you like 75 days of ticking things off a list. Like, these are things that should stay with you forever after this, right? Having a goal to work towards each day, having urgency, having structure, showing sacrifice, having discipline, having structure. Like, these are good things to build up in your life, because this 75 days isn't about 75 days, right? This is not about that. It's about what am I going to get from it that I can use for the rest of my life, the next 75 years. That's really the way I approached it. I was like, what skills, what mentality, what attitudes, or what can I do in these 75 days that I can then use for the rest of my life to help me with really achieving my big goals? Because my goal wasn't to get in better shape. I didn't really care about that. I'm happy with how I look. I'm happy with how I perform. I'm happy with my mindset. Like, I just wanted to know, what can I get from doing this that can help me the rest of my life? What can I learn? I'm always looking to learn. I'm always trying to get nuggets. And most of the learning is done in doing. And this is 75 days of doing. It's doing stuff for 75 days, right? So if you're looking for something like that, then maybe this could be the challenge for you, right? But maybe not. I don't know. I don't know about that. All I know is I've got some value from it, but I wouldn't do it again because I value balance. And you can get the same type of result physically without doing something so extreme. That's what I believe. But it just has to, there still comes similar types of behaviors required to achieve the same types of result. But for me, it was all about the mental results of showing that discipline and saying no and doing these things for a period of time, which, yeah, we've got 4 days left, and I'm sure the last 4 days will be fun. It's helped that we're moving house, so the last 2 weeks have just been mental. We haven't even had time to think about 75 Hard. It's just been getting it done whilst moving house, whilst running a business, whilst doing all the 75 Hard activities, whilst seeing family. All these things have still happened whilst having birthdays. Robin had her birthday. We've had all this stuff go on. And life will throw challenges, distractions, and things at you. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to respond, right? It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. It's what you do about it. It's how you get back up when you've been chinned, and you get back up, and how do you respond, right? So yeah, that's me, guys. That's my lessons from 75 Hard. I hope you got value from that, because it wasn't just about 75 Hard. This is about life. This is about any kind of goal that you have or anything you're pursuing. There's a good chance it's going to take a lot of the things that I spoke about today. So hopefully you got some value from that. My throat's like almost closing up. I need some water. So I'm going to end it on this, guys. Speak to you soon. Over and out. The Be More podcast. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.